Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Sharan. In previous e-learning sessions, we have discussed about landmarks which guide the teeth setting and anterior teeth setting principles, both maxilla and mandible. Today, we are going to discuss about posterior teeth arrangement. The preliminary arrangement of posterior teeth involves the application of principles similar to those applied in the arrangement of anterior teeth. The artificial posterior teeth should be placed near to where the natural teeth were positioned. This placement will make it easier for the patient to adapt to the dentures and easily permitting tongue movement and cheeks to function effectively during speech, mastication and deglutition, and is aesthetically more acceptable than a purely mechanical position. So whenever you arrange the posterior teeth, you should keep it in mind. The teeth arrangement which we are doing in the posterior should not obstruct the tongue movement, cheek function, and you should not obstruct the speech, and you should permit easy mastication and deglutition. Various anatomical landmarks such as Stenson's duct, retromolar pad, linea alba buccalis should be used to determine the acceptable level of the plane of occlusion. You can see in the following pictures how retromolar pad is used in guiding the occlusal plane and how Stenson's duct is used. All this. A point of 2 mm below the top of the retromolar pad and the tip of the positioned mandibular cuspid are the guides used in the placement of mandibular posterior teeth. So whenever you arrange the mandibular posterior teeth, usually after arranging the canine, the tip of the mandibular canine and it should be and the retromolar pad, it should be 2 mm below. The basic principle for the buccolingual position of posterior teeth is that they should be positioned over the residual ridge. The canine and retromolar pad are the actual or it provides guide for the teeth arrangement. The distance between the distal of the mandibular canine and the mesial of the retromolar pad is measured to determine the total anterior space to be covered. I repeat once again. The distance between the distal of the mandibular canine and the mesial of the retromolar pad is measured to determine the total anterior-posterior space that to be covered. In the picture shown, the lingual surfaces of the lower molars are situated between the two lines projected from the buccal and lingual aspects of the retromolar pad to the mesial aspect of the mandibular canine. This is nothing but Pound's triangle or Pound's formula. The lingual surfaces of the lower molars are situated between two lines projected from the buccal and lingual aspects of the retromolar pad to the mesial aspect of the cuspid. Now coming to the actual teeth setting principles. Maxillary first premolar. As usual, the long axis of the maxillary first premolar should be parallel when viewed from parallel to the vertical axis when viewed from the labial side. And your class plate relation goes, the palatal cusp should coincide with the crest of the lower residual ridge. Sorry, when I already said you, when you are arranging the posteriors, draw the residual ridge line. Draw the residual ridge line of the mandible, and when you arrange the maxillary first premolar or maxillary second premolar or in fact maxillary posteriors, all the palatal cusp should touch this or should fall on this line. So your maxillary palatal cusp should coincide with the crest of the lower residual ridge. When you coming to the glass plate relation, buccal cusp should touch the occlusal plane, whereas palatal cusp should be 1 mm above the occlusal plane. Right? In some cases, it almost mimics the canine placement. The placement, because in some cases the aesthetic zone will be considered up to the premolars, maxillary first premolar. We have to remember when placing, as usual, long axis should be parallel to vertical axis when viewed from the labial side, and the palatal cusp of the maxillary first premolar should fall on the crest of the lower mandibular ridge, and buccal cusp should touch the glass plate, and palatal cusp should be 1 mm above the occlusal plane or glass plate. Coming to maxillary second premolar. As usual, the long axis should be parallel to vertical axis when viewed from the labial side. Same, the palatal cusp should coincide with the crest of the residual ridge, but here both buccal and palatal cusp should contact the occlusal plane. According to one more principle, we can arrange glass plate relation for both maxillary first premolar and second premolar. Both buccal and palatal cusp are touching the glass plate, but to be particular, your maxillary first premolar palatal cusp should be 1 mm above the occlusal plane, and for maxillary second premolar, both buccal and palatal cusp should contact the occlusal plane. Coming to maxillary first molar, the long axis should be inclined mesially when viewed from the buccal aspect. The mesiopalatal cusp should coincide with the crest of the lower residual ridge. The long axis should be inclined palatally when viewed from the proximal aspect. The mesiopalatal cusp should contact the occlusal plane, whereas distobuccal cusp should be 0.5 mm above the occlusal plane, and distolingual cusp should be 0.5 to 0.75 mm above the occlusal plane. So your glass plate relation, only mesiopalatal cusp should touch the glass plate, and remaining all other cusps will be above the occlusal plane, whereas your distobuccal cusp should be 0.5 mm above the occlusal plane, whereas your distolingual cusps are 0.5 to 0.75 mm above the occlusal plane. Coming to maxillary second molar, the long axis should be inclined mesially when viewed from the buccal aspect. The mesial tilt should be more than that of first molar. So you can clearly see in the pictures, when you are coming to the molars from second premolar to first molar and first molar to second molar, your mesial tilt is increasing. That is, the mesial tilt goes like this. In the picture you can clearly see. The mesiopalatal cusp should coincide with the crest of the lower ridge, as usual, like maxillary first molar, but it should be 0.75 mm above it. Remember, no cusp should touch the glass plate for the maxillary second molar. It almost mimics like the first molar, but there will be more mesial tilt and no cusp will touch the glass plate. Long axis should be inclined palatally when viewed from the proximal aspect. All cusps should be above the occlusal plane. The mesiopalatal cusp is closest to the occlusal plane. And now coming to the mandibular first molar. First we discuss mandibular molars, then we go for the premolars. As usual, long axis should be inclined mesially when viewed from the buccal aspect. Long axis should incline lingually when viewed from the proximal aspect. All cusps should be at a higher level than the occlusal plane. Mesiobuccal cusp should occlude with the distal marginal ridge of the maxillary second premolar and the mesial marginal ridge of the maxillary first molar. The mesobuccal cusp of the maxillary first molar should occlude in the buccal groove of the mandibular first molar. Remember these 2 points. Right? Mesobuccal cusp should occlude with the distal marginal ridge of the maxillary second premolar and mesial marginal ridge of the maxillary first molar. The mesobuccal cusp of the maxillary first molar should occlude in the buccal groove of the mandibular first molar. Coming to the molar key of occlusion. As I said, the mesobuccal cusp of the upper maxillary first permanent molar should coincide or should rest on the mesobuccal groove of the mandibular molar. You can clearly see here in the picture. Coming to the mandibular second molar. As usual, the long axis should be inclined mesially when viewed from the buccal aspect. Long axis should incline lingually when viewed from the proximal aspect. All cusps should be above the occlusal plane. Mesobuccal cusp occludes with the distal marginal ridge of the maxillary first molar and mesial marginal ridge of the maxillary second molar. Here you can see clearly how the marginal ridges has been occluding in the picture. Coming to premolars, mandibular second premolar. Right? Long axis should be straight when viewed from the buccal aspect. Both cusps should be 2 mm above the occlusal plane. The buccal cusp occludes with the mesial marginal ridge maxillary with maxillary second premolar and the distal marginal ridge of the maxillary first premolar. Here how it comes the intercuspation. You can clearly see in this picture. When you are arranging how it is about 2 mm over the occlusal plane, you can see molars, how the inclination is present, and you can see the intercuspation, how the buccal cusp occludes with the mesial marginal ridge maxillary second premolar and the distal marginal ridge of the maxillary first premolar. Coming to mandibular first premolar, the long axis should be straight when viewed from the buccal aspect. Same, buccal cusp should be 2 mm above the occlusal plane and lingual cusp should lie below the occlusal plane. Here remember, tip of the buccal cusp should contact with the mesial marginal ridge of the maxillary first premolar and mesial marginal ridge of the tip of the buccal cusp should contact with the mesial marginal ridge of the maxillary first premolar. So this completes your teeth arrangement. I stressed about what points you actually forget during arrangement of the teeth. Then what points you can read, how it looks parallelly when viewed from the labial side and how it looks when viewed from the back side or front side, anything, all those points you can read it, you can understand. But what points I stressed is what mistakes you will commit during the teeth arrangement. That might be your anterior teeth setting or posterior teeth setting, which landmarks guide your teeth arrangement, okay, how occlusion should be present, how intercuspation should come, what is the sequence of the arranging. First you arrange the maxillary anteriors and mandibular anteriors, then you can arrange maxillary posteriors. When you are arranging the maxillary posteriors, keep in mind, draw the crest of the lower mandibular ridge clearly and see that all palatal cusps of your posteriors. When you come to the molar, its mesopalatal cusp should touch should coincide with the crest of the lower ridge. This automatically will come your clasp plate relation. And see your clasp plate relation. Then arrange first mandibular molar in lowers. See the occlusion, molar key of occlusion. Then you can arrange mandibular second molar. Then go for the mandibular premolars. Don't arrange premolars first, then molar. You don't get your molar key of occlusion properly. Right? So all these points I have stressed. So keep it in mind and follow during your teeth arrangement in preclinicals. Now coming to the compensating curves, brief discussion. This compensating curves will be discussed in your occlusion class. Coming to the compensating curves, these compensative curves should be established, and it will be anterior posterior curves and the lateral curves. In the orientation of the teeth, it will be seen that they are arranged so that the posterior teeth, when considered as a whole unit, form two curves, that is anterior posterior curves and lateral curves. Your curve of P will be anterior posterior curves, and remaining curve of Wilson will be your mediolateral curve. That is our coming to anterior posterior curve. Compensating curves are the artificial curves introduced into dentures in order to facilitate the production of balanced articulation. They are the artificial counterparts of the curves of Spee and Monsoon, which are found in the natural dentition. The anterior posterior curve follows the imaginary line touching the buccal cusps of all lower teeth from the lower canine backwards and approximates to the arc of circle. A continuation of this curve is in the natural dentition will nearly always pass to the head of the condyle. You can see here clearly the curve of Spee in the natural dentition. Almost it passes through the head of the condyle. Then coming to the lateral curves. In the natural dentition, these are two lateral curves. One involving the molar teeth, the curve of Monsoon, and the other involving the anterior to the second premolars. The second premolars are not involved in any curve as they lie on a horizontal plane. The posterior curve has its concavity facing upwards and increases in steepness from before backwards. The occlusal surfaces of the upper molars facing outwards and downwards. The anterior curve is a reverse curve of the posterior curve just described. These are the lateral curves, molar curves, second premolar and first premolar curve. This is curve of Spee and you can see curve of Wilson. These curves will be discussed laterally, clearly in the next class, right? And not in the occlusion chapter. About compensating curves, your curve of Spee, curve of Monsoon and curve of Wilson and pleasure curve, all these curves will be discussed in your occlusion class. Okay, so this completes your teeth arrangement principles, and in the next class there will be a Zoom class which there will be a discussion. Okay, if you have any doubts you can approach in that class, right? So you go through this. Hope you understand about principles of teeth arrangement. Thank you.